Happy President's Day. I hope you're all doing well. It's Monday, and Mondays are always fun, right? I mean, some of you guys might not even be at work. So congratulations to you. I got to work pretty much all day today. But there's been some big updates going on behind the scenes, and I wanted to bring you along with me to see what I'm talking about. First and foremost, I'm stoked. I just actually got off the phone with my buddy Mike. Again, he does all the Honda part outs. He's the one that helps me get stuff that, might be a little bit more difficult to find, or you don't want to deal with the nonsense of chasing around on Facebook Marketplace and that sort of stuff. So I've got a couple things that I need to get rid of. He helps me with that, so on and so forth. So anyway, I just got off the phone with them. Looks like the silver car might start within the next day or two. We're having a little bit of issues with the immobilizer, and the car's just not even priming the fuel pump. But I'm sure he'll have that figured out by the end of the day. A bunch of our friends actually are helping him get that car done. So some other things though. So that car is just going to be identical to the black car. We're going to be doing the K24. Does have an RBC, it's not ported, has a stock throttle body on it. Unfortunately, this trans is the trans that's gonna go into that car. However, it's in here, so it can't. No, but anyway, this K20Z3, I'm gonna pull out of the car. We got a new one, I'm gonna show you that in a minute. We're gonna run this exact setup. So we're gonna have the EXO Racing shroud, which is awesome. If you want a plug and play shroud that looks good and is easy and it works fantastic, it's a company out of UK. It's called EXO Racing, and then with the coil rad. So you have to run those two things together. Everything on this car is essentially going to be the same thing on the silver car, except we're going to be, as of right now, depending on the issues that we have, going to be running K-Pro Honda in that car. Not that it came with the swap, so I'm going to use it. We have the big tube headers on that car, so we're going to run actually the same exhaust that I have on this one. May actually have this exhaust pulled off to put on the silver car, and then I don't even know yet. We'll see. Anyway, I'm doing too much talking. Let me show you the new trans that we got. I'm pretty stoked on it. Yeah, I had to do a little B-roll. That thing is just way too nice. So my goal this season ultimately is this. It's make this car simple and work and also, get everything sorted that we didn't have sorted last year. The biggest things were wiring. It's not that the car wasn't wired properly. There's a lot of extra wires in there for the sunroof and all this other nonsense for the interior that we do not need, we do not use anymore. Got to cut all that out, because ultimately you're just setting yourself up for failure in the sense of maybe something that has nothing to do with the motor running properly causes an issue, and all of a sudden now you're chasing after wiring issues. So simplify it. Get whatever is not needed out of the car. That's the goal this year. Secondly was, like I said, making sure the car just was set up properly. So that's the whole thing, is get your car dialed in, and that way you're not thinking like, this is the shortcomings. You have anything to blame because you did everything the way that it should. Like last season, the car was together, I had a blast, and I actually ran some okay times, but it just wasn't dialed. It wasn't set up at all, actually, which is kind of surprising that we even did as good as we did. It was just pretty much thrown together in a garage and taken out on track and had fun. But that's about it. And this year we want to be a little bit more competitive. So we're gonna swap out the transmission with a new K20Z3 that's been completely refurbished by my buddy Bobby. And he does all this stuff. It's vapor honing, zinc coated all the bolts, painted. some parts that we were gonna have powder coated, but just time limited us to this, and then replaced a bunch of stuff on the internals. Synchros, 4th, 5th, 6th is now Type R gears with a 546 Gear X final and a Momentum Motorsports plated diff. So trans is not gonna be the issue this year because this thing is baller. It's gonna be exactly what we really needed with the big 17-inch tires and the big 17-inch wheels and the big tires. This trans that's in this car is going to get pulled out. Also brought to Bobby to have him redo that one the exact same way. Probably going to have to change the gearing to Gear X because finding Type R gears is pretty much almost impossible. But we're going to play around with that one a little bit, test it with the silver car, see how it goes. So like I said, simplify, make things easy. As you know, we added the carbon plug. We got some other things in the works for lightweight. Got to come in here and clear this whole thing out. So I got a couple of other things I'm gonna do to the car. My whole thing with this with you guys is to show you somewhat of a recipe on how to build a quick time attack car. I've spent way too much money having to do things twice. I recommend, now granted, when you're building these things, you're testing things, you're figuring it out, you hear what other people are doing, and you kind of see if it works for you. If not, that's great too. But I got another couple things that I'm going to be working on. A couple things we're going to be doing is replacing the aero on this car. So the airfoil that was on this car is a PCI airfoil, and it's going to be going on the silver car. So I want to show you what we did with that to kind of upgrade it for this season as well. So I'm not going to spoil you on what we're going to be doing with the black car's airfoil yet, but this is the airfoil I ran last year, which is a 65-inch PCI Swan mount airfoil. So it's called a top mount. That's why the mounts are on top of the airfoil. And for road racing, it really is the best option because actually the air going underneath it is the most important, not the top. So we had run this as came from PCI. So had PCI end plates, PCI mounts, which we ran the version 2, and they are they're called the setback. So if you see, there's actually a mount that goes on the back of the trunk, so it sets it back a couple inches. I want to say almost 2.5 inches from the other version. But then on top of that, this year, we are going to be running some carbon fiber Zebulon end plates. So Zebulon makes all sorts of aero stuff for pretty much any car that you could think of. More modern stuff, obviously, because these things are 30 years old and not everybody wants to build this. So they, I reached out to them. I said, hey, listen, the end plates that came with the PCI are nice, but they're pretty simple. They're small, and I'd love to upgrade. So let's see if I can get, I mean, way bigger, slightly lighter, not a ton because we are making them bigger. We made them bigger, but it's cool because they have the adjustment on here as well. We'll be able to adjust our wing angle and get our aero dialed in on the silver car. So I'm super stoked on that. But like I said, it's cool because these are things you could do. You could buy these wings and play with them and then upgrade them and just reach out to companies and talk to them and see what is available and what you could do. They're more than willing to work with you. In most cases, they're like us and just stoked to even be a part of a project. And yeah, Ryan really helped me out with that. Look into Zebulon wings, an aero, PCI, always, you know, just has, it's cool having these companies even making these things an option so we don't have to necessarily find everything and build it ourselves. You can kind of mismatch and play around with different companies' stuff and see what works best for your car and your setup. So anyway, that's pretty much it today. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. I wanted to show you this transmission because it is, I'm so stoked on it. I'm so excited to get this in the car. I'm going to run over to Tri-State today and get a new clutch. And we're going to get this in the car as soon as possible. And it's getting down to crunch time, guys. So I really got to start moving on this stuff and get this thing set up. So there's going to be a few more videos coming out soon, not just of this. Got some other stuff happening, and I'm super stoked on it. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.